Hi there, and welcome to my H1Z1 survival mode tutorial. I'm here on the main screen of H1Z1 after you've launched the game. Very first thing you need to do is decide what server to play on. Generally, I'd recommend that most people start on a PvP server, no other additional rules. If you really want, you can play on a PvE, but so much of this game is about the tenseness of not just the zombies but other players, and you will run into jerks on those servers and you will die and lose your stuff, but it's not a big deal. It can be frustrating sometimes, but it happens. For this first tutorial I am going to pick a PvE server just so I don't die during an explanation of something. So here we go. When you first select a server, you've got a couple of choices, 2 men, 2 female. These options can change in the future. The game is in an alpha state. Just start with the basic one and give it my name. Make sure it's a valid name and join the server. And here we are, we're in the game. Alright. The controls for the game are the standard first-person shooter, WASD to move around, mouse to look, left click for your attack, right click when you get an actual weapon for looking down sights and things like that. In the bottom right corner, it shows our position. When you first come in, it'll just look like that. If you hit the H key, it'll bring up all of your health statistics. Hydration, stamina, energy, and health. You generally do not want any of those to hit 0. Health the most important, of course. Hydration is how thirsty you are. It constantly ticks down slowly. Drink to fill it up. When it hits 0, you will begin losing health. The same happens with energy. Energy will also drain a little bit faster while you're running. Stamina is your ability to run extra fast and as you run. So here's my character. Walk forward, no stamina drop. But if you hold the shift key, you can run. And if I run for just a second, I begin to lose stamina. Alright. So that's the basics of the HUD and our stats. As you can see, here's you're starting. You've got a shirt, pants, and shoes on, and that's about it. If I hit the tab key to open the inventory, we also have a belt pouch and a flare, 5 gauze, and a hand-drawn map. Anytime you spawn after a death, you will have these items on. It may be different color shirts and pants, but they all have the same stats. The shirt lets you hold 50 items, the jeans lets you hold 50 items, and the belt pouch lets you hold 100. So let's actually take a look at this map here. Hitting the M key brings up that map. If you have a better map, which you could find later, it will bring up that one automatically. Alright, and as you can see, the grid coordinates, so we are in I9. If we trace that out in I9, we are right here, barely off of the main roads of the map. These are different roads. There are 3 main cities. It's Cranberry here, Rancho Taquito, the hand-drawn map jokingly calls it Rancho Taco, something like that. And Pleasant Valley, which you will often hear referred to as PV. When you first start out, you're going to want to get something to survive. So let's get us some of these sticks here. These larger plants provide you sticks. All you have to do is walk up to them and hit the use key, which by default is E. And we get a stick. We're going to gather a couple of those. Some tutorials will tell you at this point to take off your starting clothing and you can shred it to make a satchel. I don't prefer that method, and I'll show you once we get some more materials how to make this satchel. So right here we've got a wolf just beside us. We're going to avoid him for now because we'd rather get into this town here, little gas station it looks like, and see if we can find some supplies to survive. Coming up to this guardrail, spacebar is the jump key. That, of course, any of these keys can be customized, and I'm terrible. There we go. There's a deer. Deer and wolves can be used for food. They have meat on them. But we don't have anything to do any killing with except our fists, which will work in a pinch, but are definitely not the best. So, I don't see anyone right now. When you're playing on a PB server, you always want to make sure before heading into any sort of old building area that you aren't being watched, followed, or chased down. Of course, this is a PvE server, so I don't have to worry about that too much. And we've come in, and hey, we found something to help us survive. I found a wood axe here. I'm going to hit E to pick it up, and now it goes down into my quick slots. If I hit the tab key, open the inventory back up, you have 3 weapon slots and 2 item slots. And I forgot, I don't use it very often. You do start with a tactical flashlight in case it's dark and you need to see. You also saw that this cabinet lit up when I moused over it to pick up that axe, which means I can search it. So let's do that now. Just hitting the use key pulls up the menu and shows me what's in there. Multivitamins are in this particular cabinet, and this is all going to be random, and sometimes there won't be anything in it because somebody came before you. These help the immune system cope with normal everyday stress. And then the text for the game and brackets helps your body defend against contracting the H1Z1 virus. When attacked by a zombie, it is possible to become infected. This will keep us that from happening. Now, it doesn't happen too often if you're careful, so the use of this is negligible to some people. But for your first time, go ahead and pick it up. You've got the space, and we're actually going to use that now. And when we use it, we get a stat boost. Low immunity booster. Helps the body defend against getting the H1Z1 virus. So if we do fight zombies, we're much less likely to get infected. A couple of refrigerators here. One of our needs is food, so let's check them out. No food in either of those. Gonna continue searching the place. Cabinet. Some crates here. You can punch these crates and open them. Just take a few punches and they'll have things in them. This particular one has a salt packet. Salt is used in the cooking of food. It's also used to make saline to make first aid kits, so it's useful. And this other item here is fertilizer. I'll take it. It's not going to serve us much use right now, but it may later. Got some filing cabinets. A single 45 round bullet. So if we find a gun later, that would work great in it. Ooh, another bit of bullets. This one is another 45 round. Now, let's say you walked into the room and you didn't necessarily see that because, well, sometimes in the dark it's hard to see, or something spawns in an odd location. The game is in alpha, and let's say it didn't spawn on the table, it actually spawned inside of it. If I'd have walked here and hit the tab key, this area on the left here shows you items in close proximity to you, and this will update as people drop items. So let's say I am here and I we'll drop the flare on the ground. You cannot drop the flare. I did not know that. Usually the flare I keep in my inventory and I'll either use it at some point. I generally don't drop it because I can't be bothered. It's not that heavy. Let's actually talk about that now. Every item you pick up has weight. These 45 rounds, I have 2 of them. They weigh 2. It's called bulk. My shirt has a few small pockets. It says the shirt has a pocket which can hold a few items. That means it has 50 capacity for bulk, and we are using 44 of it now. We're using 0 of 50 in our jeans and 80 out of 100 in our belt pouch. So that will limit what you can carry. Items like weapons are very large. This wood axe is 1,000, so I would not be able to carry it except in my 3 weapon slots right now. So let me drop something that can be dropped, like these gauze. So we see that it is now on the ground, but let's say I couldn't see it. If I were to hit the tab key, it shows up in proximity items and I can click on it and take it from there. Alright, so we've finished checking this building out. Let's see what else we can find. Ooh, there's a couple of houses behind here. Houses are great when you are first starting out because we've got a little vehicle. That scared me. We've got just our clothes on our back. So let's find some clothes. We found us a hat here. A hat's not too useful. It's just a hat. It can be worn or torn into scraps. Let's check this cabinet. It has an empty syringe. In a house, generally, you've got a living room area and a kitchen. They'll have basic random items. You'll have a bathroom with a cabinet that'll have medical items. That syringe was one of them. Cold medicine, those multivitamins we found earlier. And then they'll have a bedroom, usually with an area that might have some clothes. So we've got some extra clothes. Well, why do we need these clothes? Well, like most tutorials, they tell you to take off your initial clothes so you can make a satchel. We're going to do that with these extra clothes we found, just because we don't want to run around naked. So this shirt we found, if I right click on it, it gives me the option to shred. So I'm going to shred that extra shirt, and I got 4 scraps of cloth for it. I'm going to do the same for the jeans in the container, and it will actually give me the cloth in my inventory. And you also probably noticed here, there's a knife sitting on this bench. So now we've got another weapon. Still, they're both melee weapons, but we'll work on it. Now that we've got some cloth, let's make our first item. H1Z1 has a crafting system. You start out the game with these very basic recipes. You can make bandages from scraps of cloth. You can make a campfire from wood logs, which we've not gotten yet. You can make a metal bar from scrap metal. But this yellow text down here, it must be placed in a furnace, which we have not found. Then you can make planks from a log and sticks from a plank. Sounds very Minecrafty. And in some ways it is. You start out with logs, turn them into planks, turn those into sticks. But those are the only ones we start with. To find more, you have to click on the Discovery tab here on your inventory. And using up to 4 different items, you can discover different recipes. Anything that's light on the screen, assuming there's no bug, sometimes it will bug out and either nothing will be lit or everything will be lit. But you can discover new recipes. So I have scraps of cloth here that I just acquired. And if I put them in, it says you can discover a recipe from these ingredients. So if I click that, we can make a basic bandana. A bandana is just for looks. It covers the face slot and, well, makes you look roguish. If we click again, new scraps of cloth, we can discover another recipe. And notice that this is not making the item, it just discovers it for you. A satchel, that's what we're looking for, because we want to be able to carry more items. More items means more to survive with. So now we've discovered what we wanted. We can click on crafting, and there it is, satchel. And there's that basic bandana. It requires 2 scraps of cloth, and our satchel requires 6. So let's make the satchel first because it's the most important. We do still have 3 scraps of cloth. You know what? Let's do it. Let's be intimidating and make us that bandana. And anytime a slot is empty, if you pick up an item that goes in that slot, it will automatically equip. So the basic bandana went directly into the slot. As you can see, it just gives you protection against the sun and wind, which is nothing. And our satchel already equipped on our back. This small satchel is one on the back and will hold a few items. It weighs 100 bulk, but when we equip it in this slot, it gives us 300 bulk to carry with. So now we can carry 300 space more worth of items. This is excellent. We've tripled basically our storage. So now we can afford to carry a lot heavier of items. Actually, I think that this is a great stopping place for this video. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked it. It helps me out, and we'll continue this next time. Take care.